Hello everybody, welcome to my updated channel. It's no longer I'm Real, it's called Mantra College now. So I put some nice music there for you that you can listen to if you feel depressed, if you feel anxious, stressful. It's infused with a special mantra. Mantra is a transcendental sound vibration. It's a specific combination of letters which form a few words that you can chant again and again, and then they will purify your mind and clear your subconscious thoughts. So anyway, now I wanted to read some books with you because I might feel we are struggling in this day and age, considering what to do next. There's so many uncertainties. We thought coronavirus was over and we are coming back to normal life, but again, so many problems. Second wave is hitting different states in Australia, it's gonna hit Europe soon, and it's crazy. Yeah, these lockdowns, they're not solving the situation. So while we're sitting at home, I guess it's really a good idea to just dive deep into the literature, trying to understand what is the purpose of life. Why do we suffer so much? How can we stop this suffering? If the death is so close, how can we make our life meaningful and have a purpose? That's why I picked up this book. It's called Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is book written 5,000 years ago, and that's a conversation between God himself and Arjuna, his friend, his servant. So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was present on this earth 5,000 years ago. There was a big battle at the place in India called Kurukshetra. You can still go and visit this place today. It's actually like a desert. It was a huge fight between two dynasties. And as we go along, I might tell you the background story, because Bhagavad Gita is actually a small part of the history of India. So, but it's the essence of all the ancient Vedic scriptures and knowledge. So that's so cool. Just by reading this book, you can understand what's the conclusion of all the Eastern philosophy. Now, there's a lot of different Eastern philosophies. Buddhism is very prominent, Hinduism, different Mayavadi philosophies, and you can get confused in personalism. What's the right way? Do we achieve nirvana? Who we are? Does the soul exist? All these questions are going to be answered in this book. So, what's the problem? How does the book start? Alright, let's just read the first text, and then I might explain really quickly the background story, which is really, really exciting. I can tell you as much as I know. So, the first chapter of this amazing book is called Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. So, as I said, there are two armies, and they're about to fight. They're actually millions and millions of people, like 6 million people or something. And two huge armies, and they're about to fight. So, text 1, let's just go into it and then let's see. Sanskrit says, Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetri kurukshetri samaveta yayutsavaha mamakaha pandavascheva kima kurvata sanjaya. So the whole Bhagavad Gita consists of different what they called in Sanskrit shlokas. Shlokas means verses. As you can see, what I read just then is a Sanskrit verse which consists of 4 lines. Sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller, but that's the original language that they spoke in all around the world actually, but in India specifically. That's where Hindi is coming from. Many other languages, Russian, Ukrainian, European languages, Czech, even some English words, they're very, very similar to Sanskrit, because that's the original language. In Russia, they used to write Sanskrit until, or some sort of, leftover of the Sanskrit until the 15th century. In schools in Russia, we study some part of Bhagavad Gita as part of the history of Russia, because that's what we used to follow until the 10th century. I'm from Russia, so that's why I'm saying we. So the translation of the text in English, Dhritarashtra said, "O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?" Dhritarashtra, alright, let's start there. So, let's just read the purport. So that's the translation of the text, and the purport is written by A.C. Abhayacharana Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. That's a person here. You might have seen him. He started the Hare Krishna movement in America in 1965. He was 69 years old. So he left from India, traveled to America, had 2 heart attacks on the way there at the age of 69. And he had just a bag full of books and and a couple of dollars, and that's it. Right now there are more than 100 temples in the world. There are hundreds of thousands of followers of Bhaktivedanta Swami. And you can see Hare Krishna people everywhere, especially on the street, they chant and dance. So this person, he had some special potency. He was not an ordinary person, that's for sure. Just imagine, you're 69 years old. He used to sleep 2 hours a day just translating books. From the previous episode, you could see the books that I have on my shelves. He translated all of them, which is just extraordinary. He would wake up, he would go to bed 11 o'clock, actually 9 o'clock, and then wake up at 11 at night and just sleeping 2 hours. Firstly, try to do that, that's already hard, but then at 11 o'clock he woke up and he would translate books. Sometimes he would sleep longer, maybe until 12 or 1, but he would just wake up and translate books. And that's what he did at night. And he did some meditation, and then all day he would try to distribute this teaching to everyone, so people can understand what's the purpose of their life. If we summarize it all together, what we really want to be achieving in this life is we want to be happy and we want to be loved, maybe successful as well. But happiness is the first thing. So this book talks about what is real happiness, what is a fake happiness, how can you actually fulfill your heart. Now, going back 5,000 years, who is Dhritarashtra? So the text starts with Dhritarashtra said, right? So Dhritarashtra had a brother, his name was Pandu, right? And so Pandu was the king, but then Pandu died. So according to the etiquette, to the Vedas, when the father dies, his sons inherit the kingdom. But Dhritarashtra, the brother of Pandu, he wanted to inherit the kingdom, but moreover he wanted his own sons to inherit the kingdom, right? So we have Pandu on one side, and then we have his brother Dhritarashtra. Pandu has 5 sons, right? They're supposed to be next kings. So Pandu dies, 5 sons of his supposed to be next kings of the kingdom. But Dhritarashtra, that's not Dhritarashtra, that's Krishna and Arjuna, but I'm just saying Dhritarashtra, he had 100 sons actually, a lot of sons. So he wanted his own sons to become next kings. He didn't want his nephews to become kings. So there's a whole history of how he cheats them, and because they're very, very honest and very gentle people, in the end, these 5 brothers, they come to their uncle Dhritarashtra, and they asked them, they said, just give us one house. We don't want the whole kingdom. Just give us one house. And he tortured them. He did many, many bad things to them. There's a whole history. I'll tell you along as we go. And then Dhritarashtra said, no, I will not even, I will not give you even a pinch of a land. So he was that greedy and that envious of his nephews. So anyway, they had to fight. But now, when these 2 armies are gathered, there's someone on the side of these brothers, right? The Pandava brothers. Their father is Pandu. And there is also Dhritarashtra and his sons on the other side. So huge armies, millions of people, they're about to fight. Arjuna, who you can see on this picture here, Arjuna, he is one of the sons of Pandu, and he has a friend whose name is Krishna, who is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they're gonna have a conversation. Arjuna actually is not willing to fight anymore because he doesn't want to kill his cousins, and there were some other important people, like his teacher was on the other side of the battlefield. So he's really confused, but we will go along. It's really big history. So let's just basically now you know who is Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra is talking to his servant Sanjaya. He says, "O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu, these 5 brothers, assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, which is the place in India, desiring to fight, what did they do?" So he's asking his servant. The reason why he's asking, firstly, he was not present at the battlefield. So he was not fighting on the battlefield, to make it clear. And secondly, he wanted to know what was happening because he could not see, he was blind from birth. But Sanjaya, his servant, had actually mystic yoga powers. You can see some people sometimes meditate in the caves in Himalayas, and they develop some mystic yoga powers. They can levitate, they can stay naked in snow in -30, and then they can perform many wonderful activities. So Sanjaya, without phones, without TVs, he could tell him what was going on the battlefield. He had that mystic power. So let's read purport. In purport it says, purport is written, this is the commentary by Bhaktivedanta Swami. So he writes, Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, clarification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly, with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna, and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. So I've heard it from a devotee of Krishna, the person who serves Krishna, serves God, and let's all try to understand it without any motivations to interpret in our own way. Just hear the book as it is. That's why it's called Bhagavad Gita, as it is. And you're always welcome to question and doubt. That's what it means by saying scrutinizingly. We should scrutinize this Bhagavad Gita. Any doubts you have, any questions, put them forward. Put them in your comments. And I will try to answer them the best I can. So the example, I will continue reading the commentary. The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. Remember, Arjuna, one of the brothers of Pandu, he is hearing directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If someone is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, then he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. Wow. Just think about it. And there's so many scriptures in the world. There is Bible, Quran, Torah, excuse me my pronunciation, many scriptures. And in the Vedas themselves, there is so many different Vedic scriptures: Jyotish, Karma, Yoga, any kind of Yajur Veda, Rig Veda, many Vedas, Sama Veda, Puranas, Upanishads, many Vedas. So what we are trying to do, if we study this book really close and open our hearts, and the most intimate questions that we have, we can ask and then try to find the answers in this book, then hopefully what it says here, we can find all the answers. We can understand the purpose of our life. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So many scriptures, they are talking about God. They're talking about creation. Bible is talking about God, is talking about Jesus. But this book, Bhagavan means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Gita means song. So that's a song of the God. God speaks directly in this book. It's not about him. It's a book by him. That's why it's very special. It doesn't mean your religion is wrong. No. All the other religions are different pathways to God, to the same God, to that same Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even if you're Christian or Muslim, why should you read this book? Because it says the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. Because by the end of the day, all the scriptures are about God. Yeah, so they can be missing something, but whatever God says is perfect. So that's why this scripture will expand your knowledge depending on what you already have and clear all the doubts. That's why this series is called The Most Confidential Knowledge. We're going to reveal the most confidential knowledge available on this planet. So please stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel Mantra College. Give us a like and leave your questions in the comments below. I'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you so much for being with me. Hare Krishna.